watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. Like and subscribe for more.
Hi Homeworthy, I'm John and welcome to my Brooklyn apartment. Hi, I'm John Sohn and welcome to my home in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, New York. My apartment is a studio apartment. It's a little over 500 square feet and it's just one big room with a bathroom. What I like about living in a studio apartment is that I get to see how all of my pieces interact with each other, which I think is really nice. And what I don't like about living in a studio apartment is also for that reason that I don't really have delineation of space sometimes. So sometimes it could feel a little overwhelming that I'm kind of surrounded by all my stuff. I'm a fashion designer. I've worked in this field for 12 years now. I'm currently the head of design at a brand called Rosetta Getty. And previously I was at a company called The Row and I was there for about a little over 2 years. And yeah, I think with fashion, I naturally sort of fell into it. I studied it in college. I think what really got me into it was that my grandmother was a seamstress and so was my mom. So I was kind of always around sewing machines and clothing and scraps. So yeah, I learned in high school how to sew. My mom taught me. And I don't know, I guess I've always been interested in fashion. So we're in my apartment. Right when you walk in, it's my kitchen. It's a small space, so you're kind of in the middle of all of it once you come in. I have the typical New York City renter's kitchen, so it's the same sort of blonde wood everyone has. I haven't really made any changes to it besides adding some functional sort of storage. I don't have that much storage in my kitchen, so I just have a lot of my tools that I grab a lot readily available. So my knives, my other cooking supplies, and I have some measuring cups above my stove. I do cook more than I used to ever since COVID, but I don't have a dishwasher in this apartment, so that's the only reason why I don't cook every single day. Yes, this is an Onza espresso machine. I don't use it as much as I should, but it's really fun. I usually use it to make espressos for espresso martini. Yeah, one thing I noticed about when I first saw this apartment was that the kitchen was small. I was used to that because my old apartment also had a small kitchen, but I knew I needed a little bit more space, so I intentionally got a larger dining table. So that's where I end up doing a lot of prep. Like when I have things to put in the oven, I'll just kind of put it there first while the oven's preheating. Otherwise, yeah, I just try to make sure everything has a spot and a home and there's enough storage. It can get really chaotic when I'm cooking like a big meal. So yeah, I really try to make sure that the space is used efficiently. This is a print from Torbjorn Rodland. It was a birthday present from my boss, Rosetta. She actually has the same one in her library in her home in LA. But I really love it. I didn't have it hanging for, I guess, the past year, because I didn't know where to put it in my apartment, but I thought maybe my fridge could be a good spot because yeah, it's a hot dog with some toothpaste on it. So it was either my bathroom or my kitchen, and I think it fits in really nicely here. So the dining table is styled with my vintage Elsa Peretti for Tiffany's terracotta pieces. I've been collecting these for several years now. I think I would just set an eBay alert for Elsa Peretti terracotta and they'd pop up. And yeah, I've been able to amass a small collection, which is really nice. Luckily, I didn't pay that much for them. And ever since her death a couple years ago, the prices have skyrocketed. So I'm glad I got these before then. But yeah, this is where I usually throw like my produce, like garlic, onions, things like that here, and some flowers occasionally. So this dining table is from Lichen. They're based here in New York, just in Ridgewood. When I was looking for a dining table, I knew I wanted something that could seat at least 6 people. I had a big dining table in my last apartment, so I just wanted to make sure that I had something large enough, even though this is a small space. Luckily, it does fit here really well, and I have 6 Giancarlo Peretti plia chairs here. I have quite a few Giancarlo Peretti pieces, and I don't know why I'm so attracted to them, but they fold up, all of the pieces do. So it's nice that it has a minimal footprint, and I could kind of move them away if I need to clear the space. And also another reason why I got them was because Halston is one of my style icons, which is why I'm also wearing red socks. But he also had Plia chairs for his fashion shows at the Olympic Towers, which I've always been obsessed with. So I knew I had to have them once I moved into this apartment. So this is my little bar cabinet. It's really tiny, but it's very cute. It's by a Czechoslovakian designer named Jindřich Halabala. I found it on Etsy, and I thought it was going to be great for a bar situation until it arrived. I realized how short it was, but luckily it just holds all my stemware. So all like my cocktail glasses, my wine glasses, which is really nice. And what I flanked it with was just these little like Yamazaki home carts, which hold all my liquor. I got more into cocktails and cocktail making since COVID, so it's really nice to have a full bar to entertain friends with. So this is one of my favorite pieces that I've owned for a while now. It's a Noguchi Akari floor lamp. This one I actually purchased here in New York. Well, it was through eBay, but the person lived here in New York, so I picked it up in person. But I actually sold 2 other Noguchis I had to a friend to purchase this one. So yeah, this is always like one of my dream lamps. So I got it a couple years ago, and yeah, I think it's one of those pieces that I'm gonna have for life. This one is, I think you can only order it through the Noguchi store, made to order, and I think it's well over $3,000 now, but I didn't pay that much. I paid way less. Yes, I love finding things for cheap. I always set out a bunch of alerts on auction sites, eBay, Etsy. Just in my free time, I'm always just kind of looking for these dream pieces, and it constantly changes. Like, but yeah, I really like finding a good deal. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty minimal in terms of color, but I do have a lot of like pop color socks, and the red ones are my particular favorites. Yeah, these socks are cashmere socks by Comb C. It's a brand run by my friend Jenny. They just do incredible socks in really great colors. So moving on from the dining area, we move right into my bedroom. It's separated by this vintage Japanese step tansu chest. I was looking for some sort of divider in my apartment, and I've always been obsessed with step tansus. And right before I moved into this apartment, I found these on eBay, and the store is located in New Jersey, so they dropped it off to my apartment, which was really nice. But it acts as a nice barrier between the rest of the apartment and my bed here. It also has a lot of storage, so I kind of throw a lot of things in there. It's like my medicine cabinet, I have vases. They open from both sides, so you can open it from here or you can open it from that side as well. And then they also have like 2 larger cabinets, so I keep things like this little funny vintage Danish vase slash candle holder. I hide away a lot of my stuff. I don't know, I don't really like having too much stuff out since I am in a studio apartment, so I try to hide as much as possible. This is one of my favorite things that I own. It's a pulque pitcher. I bought this at an antique market in Mexico City. The reason why I'm so obsessed with it is because when I was in Mexico City, I did a tour of Casa Luis Barragan, and in his kitchen area, he had a bunch of these pitchers, and I took a photo of them. I didn't know what they were, but the next day I went to the antique market and saw this, and I kind of knew that I had to have it. So yeah, it came back with me. But yeah, I think it's just so cool and beautiful. I use it as a vase pretty often. Yeah, it's definitely one of my most cherished pieces that I own. I knew since it is a studio space and everything's kind of out in the open, I just wanted it to feel cozy and kind of separate from the rest of the apartment. So I also wanted to make sure in this apartment that I had room on both sides of my bed. Previously, I always had my bed against the wall or something, which makes it hard to make the bed all the time. So even though it is a little crevice, I just like having a bed flanked by 2 symmetrical side tables. I also have 2 small Noguchi Akari lamps that I had in my old apartment. And on my bed, I don't have a headboard, but I made these pillows. The pillows sort of were a pandemic project for me that now is kind of like, I guess, a side project. A lot of people request custom pillows from me. So these ones are one of the first ones I made. They're kind of really big ruched pillows. They're pretty heavy. They're about like 20 pounds each, but yeah, it's nice to have the extra support there since I don't have a headboard. So these are the little lumbar pillows, which are really nice. I throw them around and use them for head support. But these ones are like the huge ones. They're really heavy. But yeah, they kind of act as my headboard. This one is, I call it double 4 because it has 4 panels. That one I call double 16 because it has 16 panels. But yeah, these are just made out of cotton canvas. I like pretty utilitarian, straightforward fabrics that are durable. So yeah, these have held up pretty well over the past 2 years. So from my bedroom, we moved directly into my living room. Another sort of barrier that I have in between my bedroom and everywhere else is this little TV. This is just a little Samsung Serif TV. I keep it in between the living room and the bedroom, and it acts as a little bit of a barrier. I also turn the TV around and watch TV in bed, which is really nice. And this is my living area. This is probably where I spent the most time planning and trying to figure out what this space was going to look like. The general vibe I was going for was mixed between postmodern and Art Deco. Those are kind of like my 2 favorite periods. Also a little bit of like futuristic sort of design too. So I have a lot of plastic around, but I was building it really off of pieces I already owned. So I had this coffee table by Francois Monet. This one I purchased several years ago. So I knew I was gonna have this in my apartment, as well as this vintage rug that I bought in Marrakesh. So that was the starting point, and then I sort of built around that. It's really good for entertaining. How I tend to lie down on it is I grab one of these pillows, and then I actually lie down because it's a day bed. So this is how I'm usually watching TV. And it's the most comfortable this way. Everything is separate. So this daybed is by Owl Furniture and Objects. I think I first found them through Instagram and then I saved it. I have this funny little crevice here in this wall. So I had very kind of odd dimensions for this kind of living area. And I had always had this saved. And once I figured out the dimensions, I realized I could get one of their day beds and one of their benches and kind of create this little small sectional here. So yeah, I reached out to them, I emailed them. They're based in Barcelona, and I placed a custom order. I decided on black velvet because even though I do love color and everything, I just wanted something pretty simple and timeless. So it took about 6 weeks and it shipped here without any major hiccups. And yeah, I think it's a really unique seating area. It is definitely like a conversation starter when people come to my apartment. They always want to sit on it or they want to like touch it. But I think once people are here and sit on it, it's just like a normal couch. So yeah, this is also one of my favorite pieces. It's an Ettore Satsas mirror. It's called the Diva mirror for Memphis Milano. I knew moving into this apartment, I wanted a mirror here just because I have 3 symmetrical windows and this is kind of the best place to reflect more light in the apartment. And in my research, I was sort of realizing that it's really hard to find an interesting mirror. So this was the best version that I could find. I've always been kind of obsessed with it because I think it's that perfect sort of thing between Art Deco and postmodern. I think if you look at an Art Deco context, it can kind of fit in. But I like that he's mixing kind of super high-end construction, but also it's just like laminate on the on the little pieces. So I don't know. I think there's a sense of humor with all Ettore Satsas pieces, which I really enjoy. And also on the bench, I have 2 of my quilted hand pillows that I make. These are pretty popular, and I guess what I'm kind of known for. My last name in Korean means hand. literally. So, which is why I decided to make a hand pillow, my namesake. And yeah, I really enjoy the quilted versions because I just always collect textiles and vintage quilts. So, and I think a good purpose for them is to turn them into upholstery and things like that. So I just have a pair flanking this little bench. One of the most noticeable things in my apartment is this giant hand in my apartment. So this came a little later after the small hand pillows I started making. I thought, you know, in my living area, I had already ordered this section and I knew I had my rug. So I thought, oh, I need another sort of seating arrangement here. I thought I could maybe make it. So I scaled up that hand pattern, I think 3 times. This is the second iteration of it. The first one I had sewn myself out of cotton canvas and stuffed it. And that was really fun for a couple months, but the cotton canvas could be a little rough. So I wanted something that felt a bit more like furniture and would kind of last the test of time. So I ordered this vinyl from Knoll Textiles, and I had it made at a garment factory that I work with here in New York City, and they sewed it properly, so hopefully it'll last for a long time. But yeah, it's stuffed with 70 pounds of shredded memory foam. It takes like 2 to 3 hours to fill up. But yeah, it's definitely a really fun place to chill out and relax. It's also kind of like that chair in my apartment. This is where like all the clothes go before it goes into the hamper. It's just kind of a catch-all for everything. So these shelves are designed by Olaf von Bohr for Cartel in the 70s, I believe. They're modular shelving. I've been searching for these for several years now, and I follow this store based in LA called Form As, and they had posted them, and I think I bought it that same day. Luckily, they shipped to me because I don't think they usually do, but since it is modular, it packs pretty flat. So yeah, they got it to me in a week, and I set it up, and now I have my dream bookshelves. So this floor lamp is also one of my favorite pieces. It's a standing floor lamp by Muller Van Severen for Valerie Objects. Again, it really kind of plays into that Art Deco vibe that I've been really looking for. It actually really looks like a reference my friend had sent me from the 1920s. So yeah, I think it's just a really beautiful piece and also kind of funny because it is so large, but the shade's so small. This is my tree. I've had her for, I think, 7 years now. She's a very large ponytail palm. I bought her in the Flower District. When I first bought her, she was about, I think she was starting to grow from right here. So I don't know, I thought she would grow very slowly, but yeah, she's already touching the ceiling here, which is kind of concerning, but I think she'll do just fine. Actually, when I first moved into the apartment, the movers actually ripped off the top of the tree. And so I was really upset about that, actually. So she was just kind of a stump, but miraculously she grew back. Apparently they're really hard to kill. So yeah, I'm glad she's still alive. I think what I love most about my home is that it reflects me pretty well. I think this is the first apartment that I've had where I've lived alone. So I was really able to kind of pick and really edit and make a space that felt truly like me. Previously, I always lived with roommates and didn't have complete say over what my space looked like. So yeah, I feel like here I actually have full control over what everything looks like, and I feel like it's pretty reflective of who I am. So moving on from my living room, we have my little office setup. Here, I actually have a lot of stuff that I had from my old apartment, just in a configuration that I thought, never really thought of, I guess. So I have these 2 vintage cabinets that I bought, and in my old apartment, I had them in my bedroom and they were kind of stacked on top of each other. And then this is a vintage Giancarlo Peretti desk. It's called the Platone desk. It also folds up, which is also really fun. But yeah, I think moving into this apartment, I really found the joy in having symmetry in pieces. I feel like since I was in my last apartment, I didn't have enough space to have like, a symmetrical setup or like having, I guess, pieces that matched. And I think in this apartment, I've really tried to find that kind of balance. I don't know, it's really quite satisfying to have like, I don't know, matching cabinets, matching lamps. It just kind of grounds the space a little bit more. And what I really like about my desk area is this desk lamp. It's called the Blow Me Up lamp by Ingo Maurer. I was doing a lot of research to find some overhead lighting for this area because although I do love these lamps, they don't really give off the best light when I'm working at nighttime. So this one I found through the Ingo Maurer website and ordered it. It was a little confusing because I had to have it plug in. So took a while for me to figure out like what setup I needed because they have a lot of custom options for this lamp. But the coolest thing about it is motion sensor. So that's how it turns on, and then that's how you turn it off. And you can also dim it, and then you can make it stronger by just holding your hand there. So that's the max light it gives off. And then you could also dim it down as well. And then turns off. Yeah, I really love space age design. I'm super into plastics, especially from the 60s and 70s. I think because the plastics they use then really age. Like, I really love these shells because you could see all the yellowing, which I think is quite beautiful. I like seeing that sort of patina on something. I know a lot of people have their thing against plastic and they think it's, you know, kind of cheap, but I don't know, I feel like they were really trying to do something in the early days of plastic, trying to make it indestructible, which I think is really cool. I also love these little desk lamps. These are something I've been searching for a really long time. They're these folding lamps by Cesare Casati. I first saw them on auction and I lost the bidding, which I was really upset about, but a couple years later, I found them. The coolest thing about them is that they fold, just like most of my furniture. So they fold up into perfect cubes, and you can also open them up. Yeah, and they don't give off that much light, but they're just kind of nice to have. They're very cute lamps. This is my other closet and the hallway that kind of leads to the bathroom. I think my favorite piece, this is a vintage Issey Miyake wind coat. It's massive. It's probably one size too big for me, but it's one of my favorite pieces of all time in fashion history. So I'm glad I own one. And I'm too scared to alter it for myself because I just want to keep it in the condition that it is. I do wear it every now and then, but it is pretty cumbersome because it is quite long on me. But yeah, it's absolutely one of my most cherished pieces. So this is my dresser. It's a vintage dresser with kind of these plastic fronts. I don't know the exact designer. There are a lot of variations on this type of design from the 70s, but this I purchased from Coming Soon. It's a store in the Lower East Side. But I had this in my old bedroom, and it really worked out that it fits directly kind of in this front entryway in my apartment. So I kind of have, this is where I throw down all my stuff. So my keys, my phone, and the main piece on top of it is this Ettore Sats's bay lamp. Again, it's one of those pieces that I've had my eye on for years, and I kind of bought it as like a treat for moving into my own apartment. So yeah, again, what I love about it is that it kind of has that Art Deco vibe, but then it's really funny with like these lucite pieces that are just basically glued on. So I like the contrast between like the really kind of great construction of the metal and the paint, and then kind of moving into like this funny glued on glass and lucite situation. I think home is kind of like a sacred place. I think it's a place to unwind, relax, keep private. I feel like since I work in such a chaotic job, you know, it's like very fast paced and a lot of chaos. I feel like when I come home, I just want to unwind and relax and kind of be in my own little quiet zone. So yeah, a little bit of a sanctuary.
Thanks for watching. For more Homeworthy content, be sure to like and subscribe.